A death so silent it raised suspicion.
Lynn was really sick and depressed.
No cries for help, no wounds to tell a tale. Only a peaceful passing, too serene, too still.
Going to like doctor after doctor, and then you should call me and say they can't find anything wrong with me.
Everyone thought Lynn was being cared for. But sometimes, the one who nurses you back to health is the same one who plots your demise.
Are you serious? Do you guys think I murdered her?
Did you?
I swear to God, I didn't.
There were no witnesses because everything was arranged to look as if she had chosen the end herself. Welcome to the channel, where every cold case whispers a story, and we're here to listen. Lynn Hernan was a middle-aged woman living a quiet life in Wisconsin, USA. Though she bore no children of her own, she was known for her warmth, generous to a fault with those she trusted. Her world was simple, orbiting around family, close friends, and a few personal pleasures. Yet in recent years, her health had begun to falter slowly, subtly, with no clear diagnosis ever offered by doctors.
Physically, her body was shutting down.
She was weak?
She wasn't eating. She probably didn't eat in 2 weeks before. She was so dehydrated. She knew she had to go. Me and our neighbor both said, you have to go and do something because your body is shutting down.
Enter Jessy Kurczewski, a woman far younger than Lynn, and now the prime suspect. Before the shadows fell, Jessy had already walked through the darker corridors of the law with a record for fraud and forgery. But after her time behind bars, she re-emerged, this time slipping quietly into Lynn's life. She was courteous, attentive, and always willing to help. It didn't take long for Lynn to trust her completely. Their bond was never etched in legal ink, not a foster daughter, not a guardian. Yet those close to Lynn said she loved Jessy like her own daughter. There was comfort, perhaps even relief, in having someone younger to lean on as the years pressed in. But that trust, tender and absolute, became the very key that opened the door wide for Jessy, not only to enter Lynn's life, but to take control of it, her money.
And what, did she have like express pay set up, or did you pay cash?
No, we used her card.
Used her card?
Yeah.
Her medical care.
I switched her medical like the last 6 months. My mom was in charge of everything. And she switched it because with her working and her hours, it was hard for her to get.
Even her most private life.
From when I was little to 5 years ago, she was a completely different person. Fun of the party, knew everybody, would bring hors d'oeuvres to the pool for everybody. I mean, she was just a completely different person. And after her parents died and she got sick, she kind of just withdrew from everybody and everything.
The relationship between Lynn and Jessy began to evolve, but only in one direction. Jessy became a constant presence in Lynn Hernan's home, assuming the role of caretaker without ever being officially named one. She cooked, she shopped, she paid the bills, or so she claimed. There was no legal documentation to grant her authority. Yet Jessy moved with the ease of someone in control.
Well, how long were you taking care of her?
It was just shortly, I would say. A little bit before she went into the hospital. I mean, I was out there pretty much every other day, but I wasn't like staying.
That was like doing her shopping.
Yeah, I would say a few months, but then like towards the end, I was back and forth twice a day.
Okay, so for the last, let's see,
I'd say 6 months.
Last 6 months?
Yeah.
You're out there every couple days?
Yeah.
Then the last few weeks, you're out there
Pretty much
often,
daily. Yeah. Once, twice a day.
And you're helping her? Are you
Yeah.
administering the medication at all?
No.
She's taking care of her own pills? Yeah. But you're picking them up from the pharmacy? Which pharmacy were you going to?
Walgreens. It's right off of her main road. I'm not a Waukesha person, but it's the closest Walgreens to her.
In Pewaukee?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they knew me very well. They knew her very well as well.
From the outside, they looked like a bonded pair, the ailing elder and the devoted young helper. But beneath the surface of that quiet arrangement, friends began to notice troubling signs. One close companion of Lynn's recalled how her bank account seemed to quietly bleed out funds, vanishing without explanation. Debts mounted, bills went unpaid, and yet Jessy continued to receive money from Lynn, supposedly to handle everything. Still, Lynn, rooted in absolute trust, never doubted her, even as her health declined in ways that felt sudden, unnatural, and sharp-edged. She allowed Jessy full authority over her medications, her medical care, and eventually her end-of-life decisions. A neighbor once overheard a quiet but telling argument between the two women. It wasn't loud, it wasn't violent, but there was a crack in Jessy's composure, a sharpness, an impatience that revealed a far colder undercurrent. It was enough to stir unease, enough to make people wonder, was Jessy's care truly born of compassion, or was it part of a meticulous plan to seize control of Lynn's life, piece by piece, until nothing remained? On the morning of October 3rd, 2018, in the quiet town of Pewaukee, Wisconsin, a call pierced the stillness at precisely 8:19 a.m. The voice on the line was trembling. It was Jessy Kurczewski. She told dispatchers she had just found her friend, Lynn Hernan, unresponsive in her accommodation. When first responders arrived, Lynn was already gone. She sat slouched in a chair, hands neatly folded on her lap, eyes shut as though merely asleep, her breath forever stilled. Crushed pills lay scattered on her chest. A half-finished glass of water stood nearby, surrounded by a few prescription bottles, some closed, others left open. No blood, no bruising, no signs of struggle or forced entry. The scene was eerily peaceful. Jessy told police Lynn may have taken her own life. She spoke of the older woman's frailty, her growing despondency, how Lynn had spoken, time and again, of wanting to let go and be at peace. On the surface, everything seemed to fit the story of an elderly woman who chose a quiet, solitary end. But the investigators didn't close the file. Something about the stillness didn't sit right, a death too tidy, too obedient to chance. In the final 6 months of Lynn's life, Jessy had become her shadow, managing her medications, coordinating her care, handling her finances, even controlling access to her personal accounts. Lynn had no family nearby, no one else to watch, no one else noticed. It took weeks for the autopsy to come back. But when it did, the story shifted. A single toxic compound in Lynn's bloodstream rewrote the case entirely. Tetrahydrozoline, the active ingredient in Vicine eye drops. In small doses, it soothes the eyes. In large ones, it can kill, plunging blood pressure, halting the heart. It is nearly invisible unless you know to look. Someone had known. A murder had been masked as mercy. Investigators searched Jessy's phone and laptop. In her history, they found searches like undetectable poisons. Can eye drops kill you? And is it safe to mix Vicine with vodka? Confronted with the findings, Jessy shifted her tale. First, she claimed Lynn used eye drops all the time because she always feels that her eyes dry.
And there's an anomaly in her toxicology. There's a drug in her system that's not supposed to be there.
And what would that be?
It's called tetrahydrozoline.
What is that?
Commonly known as eye drops.
She uses eye drops all the time.
What does she use them for?
She used them for her eyes. But she went through them like crazy, which didn't make sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, when you say a lot, how much was she using?
I probably brought her 4 bottles when she was in the hospital.
Yeah?
She put them in her eyes all the time. All the time. And I was like, I've never met somebody that goes through it. She's like, my eyes are always dry. Always.
What kind of eye drops are you buying her?
Whatever kind. She didn't care. She didn't have like a history.
I mean, I'm not an eye drop guy, but we also refer to it as Vicine, is that?
Then she said Lynn had begged her to prepare the fatal drink to end her life on her own terms.
I'd rather have her be here now. I did not murder her. Under whatever I have to, I did not murder her. I did not. I'm 100% honest with you.
Did you?
I didn't give
Did you
her.
help her end her life?
I didn't help her end her life.
Because I'd understand if I did.
I didn't though. I swear to God I did.
Because my dad's dying. Just if we go, we agree on one thing, that you probably gave her some Vicine.
Yeah.
That's what we agree on. Just motive we disagree on. Do you ever met Lynn's cousin John?
What?
Lynn's cousin John Fryatt. You ever met him?
No.
The reason this whole thing started upstairs at the medical examiner is John Fryatt's a former U.S. attorney, retired. And he thinks Lynn's death was suspicious. So he went up to the medical examiner's office and just asked the question, hey, I'm a prosecutor for 37 years. Lynn wasn't
This wasn't Jim out of curiosity?
No. Well, Jim poked around too, but
yeah.
John went there first. And he said a prosecutor for 37 years.
Yeah.
And Lynn was good friends with his mother, I think. His mother was in a home.
Was that Lynn's aunt then?
It could be.
Because she always talked about her, but I never.
And so he goes.
But there was no suicide note, No farewell, no confirmation from anyone else. Just Jessy, who had been alone with Lynn in her final moments. Jessy, who held every key, every password, every decision. The deeper they dug, the darker it got. Over $290,000 had been drained from Lynn's accounts in the 2 years before her death, funneled quietly into Jessy's pockets. The transactions were labeled as medical, financial, and caregiver expenses. But there were no invoices, no receipts. Medical debts remain unpaid. Instead, the money fed Jessy's lifestyle luxury jewelry, lavish trips, indulgent shopping sprees. Piece by piece, a clearer picture emerged more damning than any confession. A lethal substance, vanishing money, a staged scene, a story rewritten. Jessy Kurczewski wasn't merely a witness to a death. She had orchestrated it. Lynn Hernan did not die of weakness. She did not die by choice. She was killed slowly, silently, and with ruthless calculation by the very person she trusted most. A death without wounds, yet carved from betrayal. A crime scene without blood, yet chilling to the bone. And a killer who knew if you take a life gently enough, no one hears the scream. At first, the police leaned toward the theory of suicide. Jessy Kurczewski insisted Lynn was weak, depressed, and may have chosen to end her own life. The scene supported it clean, undisturbed, peaceful.
I don't think you killed her. I think she was sick. And she didn't want to, she was done. And she wanted to finish her life. And she needed help.
But the autopsy told a different story. Tetrahydrozoline, a toxic chemical found in eye drops discovered in Lynn Hernan's blood at a lethal concentration. It had never been prescribed to her. There was no medical reason for her to have used it. This compound only kills when swallowed in high doses. And even then, only specialized tests can detect it. Someone had gone to great lengths to make sure it would go unnoticed.
Apparently the body metabolizes it very quickly. That's why you can put it in your eyes. When I say metabolize, you know what that means?
No. Well, I do. I mean,
process it real quickly.
Yeah.
And people use eye drops like a date rape drug, so they can slip it in a drink like a Mickey.
I've heard that.
Yeah. In fact, it was in a movie one time, apparently.
Then White Crashers, I think.
Yeah,
and it was used like diarrhea or something.
Yeah, it gives you diarrhea. Yeah. And did Lynn have diarrhea at all?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Which kind of mean the medical examiner thinks someone was giving this to her in an attempt to kill her. Because she has a lot of it in her.
What do you mean a lot?
A lot. Like not enough, you can't take it through your eyes, it has to be ingested. Through orally.
I've never seen her drink it. Ever. Ever. And why would you drink eye drops? I mean, what would it taste like? I don't even know, but...
I don't know. It's very odd. This is why it's taking so long.
So...
There's not a lot of research on this either.
I understand.
You know, it's not like rat poison. The little rat poison thing with the wife and the husband.
All her medications were completely normal. I find that very weird.
In fact, there's no, there's 2 pills in her stomach. That's it. So the medical examiner thinks the body was staged.
I was the only one there, and I didn't stage anybody. I'm not lying. I was the only one there.
I haven't accused you either.
I know, but you're freaking me out right now because I know what people are going to think, and I spent the most amount of time with her, and I didn't kill her. This is my family.
I told you I had news, and here it is.
This is...
Something's wrong.
I see that, obviously. I mean, I kind of figured something was wrong, period, because I didn't think it should take this long, but I didn't think this is what you told me. I thought it was going to be too hard to figure out pills or something of that nature.
It's real odd because the pills are where they're supposed to be. Everything's fine. There's no pills in her stomach. When I say no, there's 2 pills.
Yeah.
Which is inconsistent to her.
That's inconsistent with what she should have been taking on a regular basis. Well, I don't know how long pills metabolize.
And I don't know either how long it takes to process through the system. Yeah. But if someone's spooning pills into their mouth, they're going to be here. You know, and they're not here.
Yeah.
And this tetrahydrozoline.
What about the pudding? Did they find pudding?
I don't know. I can't answer.
I mean, I'm just curious because I do know the day before I was there when
stomach contents, like pills. Yeah. Pills kind of stand out.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, no, I understand, but I'm saying if they're crushed pills, I just remember the day before when I left at nighttime, she took her pills in her pudding, and I was there for that.
Yeah.
That was like her regular.
But you saw her in the morning, and she's fine. I mean, everything's cool.
I mean, she wasn't fine, but she wasn't.
She wasn't like this. She was talking to you. I'll see you later, hon.
No.
That kind of stuff. And then you come back, like at what?
I mean, she was asleep when I got there. She was her regular, when we talked for a little bit, it wasn't like...
You didn't think something was imminently wrong?
No, nothing.
You need to call 911?
No. I would have called in a heartbeat, obviously. I mean, I'm the one who took her in. I'm the one who called the other times if she didn't. I would have never thought anything of that nature, ever.
Again, the medical examiner is concerned because it looks like the body staged with the spoon and the plate because there's no pills in her. Her medicines are fine therapeutically in the blood. Everything's where it's supposed to be. There's this tetrahydrogenine in her system, and I'm probably mispronouncing that.
I don't know.
However, she's supposed to have 0 parts in your body.
Mm-hmm.
She has 160 parts. They say 60 parts is lethal to an adult. That's kind of the common belief in the medical.
Like, how much is that? Like
a part. When you say part, that's a scientific term.
Okay.
So.
I mean, is that like 5 glasses or?
The medical examiner thinks to think about 4 to 5 bottles of the little bottles of eye drops, and typical Visine drops. And it's probably given in a short period of time.
So when they say like time, when do they think she died? Do they know that?
Exactly, they don't. And it's not like on TV where they put a thermometer in and go, the body's been dead approximately between 4 and 2 hours, 2 and 4 hours. It doesn't work that way in real life. She obviously died that day. Yeah. They know that based on the rigor mortis and that kind of stuff, that kind of stuff. But even that's not an exact science to the minute. So that's why we're real concerned about how there's no pills in her. The blood's therapeutic. She's this high level of this drug in her system, and it has to go in real quickly. Because originally, when we found this out, we kind of thought, well, maybe this was being done over a period of time, that it builds up in your system, that kind of stuff, like it's, being accidentally ingested through the eyes, and it took her a long time, a lot of calls to Boston, that kind of stuff, to get some more information on this. A lot of real smart people have been working on this for the last January. Since January.
I get it. They've been working on it for a long time. That's why I thought we got something.
So, I mean, the medical examiner is going to say that she was poisoned with Visine. Now, the question is how it got in her.
Yeah, I understand that.
You don't think, what's the neighbor's name again? Not Judy, it's Jean. You don't think Jean would do it?
I don't see anybody doing this. I really don't. I mean, I know all these people, but I don't see any of them doing this. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't see any of it. I don't. This just doesn't even sound right in my mind. It's like mind-blowing because I thought for sure it was this, and I would have never in a million years thought differently. And I'm being 100%. I just don't see it.
Well, they're trying to look at this as a murder.
That's just insane to me. And this is why I'm here.
One of the reasons.
Do you guys think I murdered her?
Did you?
I swear to God I didn't. I did not.
You want to have the most to gain on this.
I have no reason to murder her. I could see why people would think I'd have the most to gain. I have no reason to murder her. She was my family. I'd rather have her be here now. I did not murder her. Under whatever I have to, I did not murder her. I did not. I'm 100% honest with you.
Did you?
I didn't give her.
Did you help her end her life?
I didn't help her end her life.
Because I'd understand if you did.
I did, so. I swear to God I did.
Because my dad's dying there, and he's saying, Christopher, I want to die.
I get that.
And
she said it.
And he's tearing you, and you love him so much, and you don't know what to do.
No, I didn't. I swear to God. I did not. I've gotten her everything she wanted, but I never would have thought that. I would have never, in a million years, I would have never done this. I would have never done this. This is the worst thing that, for anybody. And if she even knew this right now, or knew that I was going through this, she would be in shock. complete shock because this is what she would have wanted. I can tell you that for 100%. I didn't do it. I didn't help her. I didn't do anything without what she wanted. And I don't even want to say it like that because it doesn't sound right. But I didn't give her anything. I didn't even give her pills wrong or vodka or drug. I didn't give her anything. I didn't give her this eye drop or whatever it's called. I didn't do any of that. I didn't give her anything except for buying her stuff. I didn't physically put anything in anything, crush up anything, make her swallow anything, I didn't do it, whatever it is. I didn't do it. I can tell you that. It didn't happen. I didn't feed her anything. Everything she did was on her own will, except with I would put in, or I would get her water or get her pudding for her or crush up the few things, but I never put anything in anything except the way she had it. Mm-hmm. I didn't put eye drops or anything with eye drops except purchase them. I didn't give them to her. I did nothing. I swear to God on that. I didn't. This is just freaking me out right now.
How much money did she give you over the last 2 years, do you think?
A lot. I don't know. Dollar-wise.
Throw a number out at me.
Maybe 20,000.
If a forensic accountant looked at the stuff, it's for 20,000.
Well, I guess I don't really
Somebody gives me 200,000 and 20,000. I
do this that way. I guess I just don't sit and think about all she's done a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I don't sit and think about it that way. And me killing her is going to do what? What would that do? I'm just curious because how would I get her money then? Why would I kill her for money?
I mean, it's
my family.
I tend to think that you didn't. When you say kill her, I don't think you killed her. I think she was sick, and she didn't want to. She was done, and she wanted to finish her life, and she needed help. She wanted help.
I understand you
and I
saying
think you
that,
helped her.
As far as helped her, though, I didn't.
I think you administered her some of that Visine.
I did not.
The medical examiner tends to think that someone else had to give it to her because it makes you real lethargic, and you kind of fall in and out of consciousness at the levels of what was in her, which means someone has to keep giving it to her because she's not capable of going to get another bottle. She won't be capable of disposing of the bottles, which aren't found around her. She needed someone to help her.
Yeah, I always picked up her garbage, brought her new bottles, but I didn't put anything in them. I've never even uncapped them for her. She did that herself.
I gotcha. But that day, with the level of drug in her, someone needed to give it to her. Because once she starts to take it, she's not going to be able to function properly. At that level of toxicity, she won't be able to walk. She'll be able to keep her eyes open.
I wasn't there, though, and I have receipts to prove that.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't there. I was there for a short time. Does that not help me? Because I can see what you guys are thinking, but I literally was shopping.
I'm thinking that you helped her.
Jessy's phone revealed damning searches undetectable poisons, how to poison with Visine, mixing eye drops with alcohol, and even, chillingly, how to conceal toxins in a corpse. The threads began to tighten. Her story unraveled just as quickly. First, she claimed Lynn had a strange habit mixing Visine into her vodka to help her sleep. Later, she said Lynn had asked her to prepare a bottle laced with eye drops to go peacefully. But no suicide note, no farewell, no message left behind, just Jessy's word. Surveillance footage captured Jessy buying multiple bottles of Visine from 3 different pharmacies in the days leading up to Lynn's death. And a financial audit uncovered that over $290,000 had been drained from Lynn's accounts in the last 2 years, much of it rerouted into Jessy's personal funds, not spent on caregiving.
How much money did she give you over the last 2 years, do you think?
A lot. I don't know. Dollar-wise.
Throw a number out at me.
Maybe 20,000.
If a forensic accountant looked at the stuff, it's for 20,000.
Well, I guess I don't really
Somebody gives me 200,000 and 20,000. I
do this that way. I guess I just don't sit and think about she's done a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I don't sit and think about it that way. And me killing her is going to do what? What would that do? I'm just curious because how would I get her money then? Why would I kill her for money?
Even after Lynn's death, Jessy didn't stop. She attempted to withdraw more money, claiming it was for funeral expenses. No invoices, no records, just more missing funds. A mutual friend remembered Lynn's quiet concern over her finances, but also her unwavering trust in Jessy. That trust became her undoing. Detectives concluded that Jessy had orchestrated the murder to hide her financial crimes, constructing a scene of suicide to mislead investigators. But the truth caught up. In June 2021, Jessy Kurczewski was arrested and charged with first-degree homicide, financial fraud, and staging a crime scene. She not only just stole Lynn's money, she stole her life and tried to make the silence look like surrender. The trial of Jessy Kurczewski commenced in late 2023 in the state of Wisconsin, a reckoning long in the making. She stood accused of first-degree homicide, financial fraud, and staging a false crime scene. The prosecution laid out a chilling portrait of premeditated murder. They argued that Jessy had systematically drained Lynn Hernan's finances and, when the well ran dry, decided to erase the only witness. Their evidence was methodical and damning toxicology reports showing lethal levels of tetrahydrozoline in Lynn's blood, browser searches detailing how to poison with Vicine, surveillance footage of Jessy buying the eye drops from multiple pharmacies, and financial records showing over $290,000 funneled from Lynn's accounts into Jessy's control.
Filed. Now, from my perspective, not only was this a very unusual case due to the allegation of a poisoning by an over-the-counter substance found in Vicine, it was unusual because of the amount of time that was put into the investigation. I don't think anyone watching this trial, sitting in this courtroom, or even watching, summaries of it, was surprised that in October of 2018, the death investigation, which was very normal, anytime someone was found deceased outside of a hospital setting, required a death investigation. I don't think anyone was surprised that initially people on scene thought it was a suicide. That's the call that came in. That's how really the scene looked. I think it was Detective Loberg who said there were no signs of forced entry. He looked outside, he looked inside. There wasn't anything to suggest any type of external trauma. He'd been on overdose cases in the past. There weren't any syringes found or anything like that, but there were the crushed pills and some other things. And I think that scene was made to look a certain way for a reason. On the one hand, the defendant wants us to believe that this is all a big mistake, that this was a suicide. And of course, the state presented a case to a jury with a lot of evidence, and a jury found that it was not a suicide. The green light, you said it went undetected, because what I think was happening is that you were using it to control Lynn Hernan, to steal from her, to gain control of her accounts. I think you targeted her. I agree with the state's assessment on that. The perfect victim. No children, no parents, they were deceased with a fair amount of money.
They highlighted Jessy's shifting narrative, how she first claimed Lynn had an odd habit of mixing eye drops with alcohol, then pivoted to say Lynn had asked for a poisoned drink to go peacefully, but no written consent, no goodbye, no corroborating evidence, just Jessy's evolving stories. The defense leaned into mercy. They painted Jessy as a caregiver. Not a killer, a woman offering compassion to someone in chronic pain. They argued it was a tragic act rooted in trust, not malice, but that narrative crumbled under the weight of forensic evidence and financial inconsistencies. On the stand, Lynn's friends and loved ones testified with unwavering clarity Lynn never spoke of suicide. She had plans, she had hope, and she had deep, sincere trust in Jessy Kurczewski. A forensic toxicologist confirmed that tetrahydrozoline could not have killed accidentally. It would have required deliberate, concentrated dosing to stop a human heart.
Injury occurred is that she was given tetrahydrozoline by another which is why I called it a homicide.
The belief that Lynn...
After more than a week of testimony and cross-examination, the jury returned their verdict. Jessy Kurczewski was found guilty of intentional homicide and aggravated financial fraud. The court declared her criminally responsible for the death of Lynn Hernan.
Jessy R. Kurczewski, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
Jessy.
Her sentence would come in a later hearing, but her fate, in the eyes of justice, had already been sealed. Not all of Lynn Hernan's loved ones were present in court the day justice was spoken aloud. But outside, one longtime friend stepped forward. Voice heavy with sorrow, Lynn lived simply and kindly. What breaks our hearts the most is that she died at the hands of someone she loved like a daughter. In the quiet town of Pewaukee, the case sent ripples through the community. Whispers turned into urgent conversations about how easily trust could be weaponized, how vulnerable the elderly become when their lives rest in the hands of a single, unchecked caregiver. Advocacy groups began calling for tighter regulations, for more oversight over informal guardianships, especially in cases of total dependency. No new laws were passed in the immediate aftermath, but the name Jessy Kurczewski began to echo in forensic classrooms and public health seminars as a case study in invisible abuse murder carried out without force, without noise, but with chilling precision. One investigator, long after the trial, spoke what many could not forget. What haunted us wasn't how she killed. It was how she lived beside her victim day after day, as if nothing had ever happened. In November 2023, Jessy Kurczewski was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, after a jury found her guilty of first-degree murder.
Parole or extended supervision after 30 years with the consecutive sentences. That's obviously, 40 years after that. Let me just find your...
The court rejected entirely her defense's claim of assisted death by request, dismissing it as a calculated lie built to mask a far more sinister truth. Lynn Hernan's family did not pursue an appeal, yet one distant relative spoke to the press, struggling to reconcile the quiet image of Lynn with the brutality of her final moments, betrayed, poisoned, and left to die alone by the very woman she once called a daughter. To this day, Jessy has not confessed, her former defense attorney has withdrawn, and she is reportedly preparing an appeal, expected to be filed sometime in 2025. Locally, the case still lingers in conversation, a haunting reminder whispered through the community, not every quiet death is a natural one. And sometimes, the cruelest violence comes not through force, but through the illusion of care. Jessy Kurczewski was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The trial closed, the verdict delivered, and her name now etched permanently into Wisconsin's judicial record, not as a thief, not as a liar, but as a murderer, not with a knife, not with a gun, but with a bottle of eye drops and trust. Lynn Hernan is no longer here to tell her side. She left this world in silence without protest, without blame, and perhaps the most chilling truth is that she may never have known she was being poisoned. Her death did not shake the streets. There were no sirens, no screams, no splatter of blood. But it is that very silence that lingers the longest. Because sometimes the most terrifying thing is not the murder itself, but the fact that no one realized it was murder. In the quiet house in Pewaukee, the sofa where Lynn took her final breath still remains. The cushions are neatly in place, a faint stain rests on the armrest, and the afternoon light still filters through the window as it always did. Only now, there is no one left to look up and see it. Thanks for tuning into our channel. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the world, check out our new videos, where we dive into the gripping true crime stories. Don't miss out.